Hello there, good to see you. Um, I'm going to have to come up with a different phrase because obviously I can't see you, but it's what folks say. Um, the thing is, there's some things that aren't good to see. Obviously, you're not included in that list. Um, Christmas has started, as in, I've seen decorations, I've seen chocolate stuff wrapped in silver paper that you hang on your tree. I've been into Tesco. I've even been into one wee newsagents, and it was, well, let's just say it's all the stores are getting their Christmas stock in, and I realise I just find it really depressing. And it's like, well, it's October now, but we don't. However, the flip side is, it's one of those things that ministers are just supposed to complain about every year. Is it right to complain? What do you actually do as a Christian if you're trying to sort of, in some way, just say, on the bus when this thing happens, this thing that is claimed to be Christmas. This was last November, so in that sense, it's obviously not this year. This year's obviously going to be different. But the thing is, I'm reading this out because I recognise I think we have the opportunity this year to do Christmas differently and to emphasise different things. React to what you think. The Catholic historian and columnist of the Daily Telegraph, Tim Stanley, has called on Christians to boycott Christmas. He's writing this on the 13th of November last year. This last week, there's been this Tim Stanley has this week given expression to what many Christians have been feeling for many, many years. There's a tension in our culture between what's supposed to be a celebration of the birth of the Son of God, and then there's this other thing, this sugar-coated, consumerist, magical idea of Christmas that it has now somehow become. With every passing year, the Christmas event becomes less and less and less about Jesus, but starts earlier and earlier and earlier. Advertisements, Christmas cards, and songs on the radio all focus on food and family and presents, and that kind of unspecified feeling of peace and goodwill towards humanity, all coated in the remote possibility of snow. Stanley's answer to this particular dilemma is to boycott the whole thing, as is what God say. The true meaning of Christmas has been left further and further behind. Last week, November 2019, I walked into a Costa Coffee, heard the sound of "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas," and walked straight out again. This is what we all need to do. I, Tim Stanley, a right-wing Christian and member of the National Trust, had me worried there, but I'm glad it's the National Trust. I am calling for a war on Christmas. I get it. If you really, really like Christmas, of course, you're going to want more and more of it all the time. The problem is that I think it psychologically is a bit unhealthy to spend 6 weeks preparing for what many people spend 1 or 2 days on. It doesn't really reflect what Christians are supposed to believe, which is that first you have the Advent season, which is about leading up to Christmas, and then from the 25th onwards, depending on the particular type of church you go to, then you have Christmas period, which in fact lasts much longer, and there is a season of family and prayers. And there is a season of family and prayer and things like that. So I find this tension between what shops sell as being Christmas and what Christmas actually is about in theological terms. It's just really, really difficult to see how the two are connected. Rather than endorsing this season, I think it's better to withdraw from it and reclaim it. I would rather Christians did their own thing and explain what they're going to do to explain what they're doing to other people, rather than continuing to validate something which is really a total distortion of the Christian festival. I think you make personal decisions in your everyday life, which I'm trying to make. If I do hear Christmas music in a shop and I don't have to be in it, I'm walking out. If you do have to join you do not have to join the mad sales frenzy. People are already shopping for Christmas, and I find that a bit insane. I think Christians at Christmas have got to be far more vocal about the things that make them different. And they've got to stop acting as though everyone agrees with us, assuming instead that they don't, and explain what it is we actually believe. Is he right? Because I've heard people speak like that before. See, the thing is, I think there is a dilemma. Can't honestly argue. I don't think many people would even attempt to argue that Christmas in our society is this essentially Christian thing, and we all do Christian stuff. I think Christians have to recognize and accept the fact we tend to do more secular stuff than we should. The problem is, while we need to be aware and very much conscious of the tension between the Christian thing that we call Christmas and the secular thing, do we just dump involvement with anything? Because I do think there's a problem. It's scripture that says, take every opportunity to give an account of the faith that you have in Jesus Christ. This is the one time in the year when it's not exactly easy, but it's relatively easier to get somebody to invite somebody to come along to church. In other words, we should not necessarily embrace all the hype, but we should identify all the opportunities. In other words, I'm asking people to pray and reflect and to think now. Not because the 1st of October is some Christian calendar date where we begin our initial preparations for Christmas. No, we don't, and we shouldn't. But what we can't do, I would contend, is kid on that this particular season, and I'm talking about the secular, consumerist, buy your Christmas cards at a special discount price for the next fortnight type of situation. That situation still lends itself to the presentation of what Christ is really about. The thing is, I recognize different people have different points of view. People can genuinely disagree. In other words, above all else, whether you use the word Christmas or not, whether you celebrate the season in a particular way that other people think is weird or more Christian, or some others say less, however you do it, take every opportunity to point people to the astonishing reality that God, Spirit, Deity, utterly different and completely separate from humanity, became a human being and is Eugene Peterson says, set up home in the neighborhood. He became one of us. I think the Christian preparation for that does begin at the end of November. But the missional opportunities, well, they've actually probably been ongoing for maybe a fortnight or so. Because while we can all lament the fact that people are selling Christmas paper and tinsel, we can recognize the opportunities. Tomorrow, I want to think about the fact that this Christmas probably will be a bit different. But that doesn't mean we can bypass it. Maybe God is giving the opportunity for us to get closer to what it actually means. Until tomorrow, go with God, because I know God goes with you. Bye.